wonderful smell of a brand new car and my husband's old gym shoes. Anyway, thinking of buying a car in Mauritius, then you might find this video useful. That's coming right up. So I remember when I moved over to the island some years back, it was rather daunting knowing where to buy a car and which car I should buy. Of course, everywhere one lives, there are different terrains and our lifestyles are all disparate. I might love a car that you might hate. Case in point, you might think that this Jimny is absolutely hideous. Although I might add that this is one of the most popular cars on the island due to its rugged terrain capabilities. And well, it does look pretty cool too, but I digress.
If you're moving here, for sure, you're likely to want to know the procedures involved in buying a car. So if you're buying brand new, you're going to find a large portion of the dealers are in Mocha. Recently, the likes of Peugeot, Suzuki, VW, Volvo, Toyota, and Hyundai have all moved into this area. One of the biggest car dealers that you're likely to come across on the island is CFAO, and they sell Mercedes-Benz, Suzuki and VW. Then there's also Access, and they specialize in Land Rover, Ford, Jaguar, Suzuki and Mazda. So those two dealers would be a very good starting point. I have noticed that cars that sell particularly well here are the 4x4 type utility vehicles, as well as the smaller runaround type cars. Also, a top tip is to buy Japanese, as the parts are easy to find here. Okay, so as a buyer, what do you need to do? Sounds pretty obvious, but choose which vehicle you'd like to buy. Test drive it to be sure, and find a reputable dealer. Get a quote for your car, shop around a bit, and make sure you get the best deal. Also, I have found that cars are expensive here, and often new cars are actually not much more expensive than second hand, particularly when you take into account the high mileage that cars tend to have here. Second thing you're going to need to do is sign an offer to purchase. And it goes without saying that you have to provide your driving license and a form of identification. Car insurance is a must. In fact, you cannot buy a car without it. A couple of good companies that I would highly recommend are Swan and Quantum, and I'll leave links in the description below just for you. Then you'll need a proof of address via utility bill or rental agreement. If the car is being financed by the dealership, then you'll need to pay a down payment. However, if you're financing the car externally via bank loan, then you'll need to supply all the info pertaining to that loan. Lastly, the dealership will need to sort out your road tax or declaration. This is displayed on your car in the form of a paper disc, and the dealer will make sure that yours is valid for 1 year. Thereafter, one can renew this either every 3 months, 6 months or yearly. Now you'll be given a horsepower or registration book, and this has info like your name, address, the vehicle make and registration, and the engine size and horsepower info too. The process for renewing road tax is to go to your local post office around 2 weeks before the expiry date. Here you'll provide the horsepower registration book, and you'll pay cash according to your engine size. So the bigger your engine, the more you're likely to pay. Once all of this is done, you can drive away with your brand new car. It really is as easy as that. But what happens if you actually wanted to buy a second-hand car? Well, the process is a little bit different. You can look at internet sites to find cars like mycar.mu and expresscars.mu. Best bit of advice here would be to obviously test drive the car and have a mechanic check that it is mechanically sound. The resale value of a car depends on the make and model, the mileage, age of the vehicle, and of course the overall condition too. If you're happy with the car, make an offer and negotiate the price until both you and the seller are happy. Next, you'll need to get the vehicle insured as quickly as possible, and if the road tax or declaration is expiring, you'll have to extend that as well. Important to note that vehicles older than 7 years will need to get a fitness certificate either from the seller or by taking the car to the Vehicle Inspection Centre. The final step now is to register the car into your name and transfer ownership. Once you've made the payment to the seller, you'll be supplied with 2 signed copies of the contract of sale, the horsepower and the certificate de gage. The certificate de gage is needed in order to transfer and register the car into your name. Now it's time to go to Port Louis to register the vehicle in your name. Registration will depend on the age of your car and its horsepower, and the documents that you'll need will be 1 original deed of sale and a photocopy registration certificate or horsepower card, and your national ID or some form of identification, so a passport will do fine there too. And then for the final step, you'll need to head off to the NTA, which is the National Land Transport Agency, and here you'll need the following documents to transfer ownership of the vehicle in your name. So you're going to need 1 original deed of sale and a photocopy, and then the car insurance in your name, and that's it. Now you're the owner of your car. Another top tip is that if you buy a second-hand car and already have car insurance, you should get back a bit of a refund for unused car insurance premiums, just by telling your insurer you've sold the car and wish to cancel your current policies. So there you have it, a bit of a guide for you about buying a new or a second-hand car here in Mauritius. As you can see, the process is quite straightforward. If you enjoyed this video, you can buy me a coffee. I really do appreciate all of your support. And there are lots of other videos you can watch right here on the screen right now, all about Mauritius. And that's it from me, and I will catch you again on the next one. See ya.